You ever look up at the stars and think, that's just light, right? But wait, light takes years to get here. So, does the sky even exist as we see it? Imagine the universe as a frozen frame. What if the light we see isn't real time, but a memory of the past? Like a photo of a distant event. What if the stars we see are not there now, but were there long ago? What if the universe isn't real in the way we think? It's not just about distance. It's about the delay of light, the lag of time, and the way we're seeing a version of the universe that's already ancient. So, if the sky is a message from the past, what does that mean for how we see reality? Let's dive in and explore why space might not be real.
So what exactly are we talking about? It's not like space is some fake place we made up. It's more like the idea of space is a story we tell ourselves about what's out there. Think of it like the blank page before you write a story. Space is the empty canvas, and the stars, planets, and galaxies are the characters we add to it. But the canvas itself is just space. It's like how you can't see the air around you, but you know it's there because you can feel it when you move. Space is kind of like that, something we can't see, but we know it's there because of the things that move through it. But here's the twist. In physics, we don't actually see space. We see light, and light moves through space, but space itself is more of a mathematical idea than something we can touch or feel. So when we say space isn't real, we're really saying it's more of a frame we use to understand the universe, not the universe itself. Like the background of a painting, not the paint. Imagine if your whole world was a video game and you didn't know you were playing. You'd think the stars were real, but maybe they're just code. And if you're not sure what's real, how do you know what to believe? You might not care about space, but you care about the stories that shape your world. And those stories are built on what we think is real, even if it's just a simulation. You might not be a scientist, but you're still part of the story. The way we imagine the cosmos shapes our culture, our art, our dreams, and maybe even our future. So next time you look up at the stars, ask yourself, are you seeing the real thing, or just a part of a bigger, stranger story? Let's rewind. Around 300 BCE, ancient Greeks were already asking what's out there. They imagined space as a vast, empty void, but they didn't know it was real, or even that it existed at all. Then, in the 1600s, Galileo looked through a telescope and saw moons orbiting Jupiter. He realized the universe wasn't just Earth and the Sun, it was bigger, more complex, and maybe not as solid as it seemed. In the 1920s, Hubble looked at distant galaxies and realized the universe was expanding. That's when we started to question whether space was real, or just an illusion we were seeing through the fabric of time and gravity. Today we know space is not just empty, it's filled with dark matter, dark energy, and mysteries we can't even begin to imagine. But the idea that space isn't real, that's just the beginning of the story. Imagine you're holding a toy spaceship in your hands. It feels real, right? But what if the whole thing is just a drawing on paper? Space isn't a place you can touch or step into. It's like a story you read, full of stars and planets, but not a real place you can visit. So when we say space isn't real, we mean it's not a physical place you can go. It's more like a big, invisible story that helps us understand the universe. It's like when you draw a dragon on a page. It's not real, but it's still fun to imagine and talk about. So space isn't real in the way you might think. It's a story we all share, full of wonder, but not something you can step into or touch. So imagine if you could take a step back from the world and look at it like it's a puzzle. That's where the idea of space begins, as something we've built to make sense of the universe. It's like the universe is a giant, empty stage, and we're the actors trying to figure out how to move around without bumping into each other. So in a way, space is less about what's out there, and more about how we've come to understand the relationships between things. And if that sounds a little abstract, that's because it is, but that's exactly what makes it so interesting to explore. So to start this journey, we need to think about space not as a thing, but as a way of measuring and connecting the things in our universe. So if space isn't real, then what's actually holding the stars in place? It's like a giant invisible hand, but instead of a hand, it's a force we call gravity. But here's the twist. Gravity doesn't just pull things down. It pulls everything together, like a cosmic hug that keeps the universe from flying apart. And even though we can't see it, gravity is everywhere, like a silent symphony that plays in the dark. So in a way, space is like a stage, and gravity is the invisible conductor that keeps the universe in rhythm. But remember, it's not empty space. It's full of forces, like a cosmic dance where every movement is connected. So here's the twist. Space isn't a void, it's a map. Everything is connected like a giant, invisible web. Think of it as a cosmic address book where every star, planet, and even you have a place. But wait, how do we even know where we are? It's not like there's a signpost in the middle of nowhere. Instead, we use light to measure distance, like using a flashlight to see how far a wall is. But here's the real trick. What we call space is just a way to describe the distances between things. It's not an actual thing, it's a kind of language we use to talk about where things are. So in the end, the universe isn't empty. It's just full of things, and we use space to describe how far apart they are. It's like a story told with numbers and light. And that's how it works. Step 3. Space isn't real, but it's the most real thing we have to describe everything else. So here's the thing, space isn't just empty. It's a dynamic, ever-changing vacuum, full of energy and particles we can't see. It's like the air around you, but way, way thinner. In fact, space is filled with electromagnetic waves, radiation, and even a faint background glow from the Big Bang. It's not silent, it's just too quiet for us to hear. But here's the real kicker. Space is made of quantum fields, like a fabric of reality stretched across the universe. It's not empty, it's full of potential. And when you look at the stars, you're not just looking at distant light. You're looking at the universe itself, glowing with its own ancient energy. So even though it feels empty, space is humming with life, energy, and mystery. It's not just a backdrop, it's the stage of the cosmos. So imagine, if you will, that space isn't a vacuum at all. It's more like a giant, invisible bubble wrap. You know, the kind you wrap around fragile stuff, but instead of protecting things, it's just there. Now picture that bubble wrap being stretched and squished by the gravity of planets and stars. It's not empty space. It's just space pretending to be empty. And here's the kicker. The bubble wrap isn't just there to hold things in, it's actually holding things together. Without it, everything would just float away into the void. So next time you look at the stars, remember, you're not staring at empty space. You're looking at the skin of the universe, thick, invisible, and full of weird, squishy physics. And if you're still confused, just think of it as the universe's version of a party balloon. Full of air, but mostly empty space. Except it's not really empty at all. You know how sometimes you hear something that sounds like it's from a sci-fi movie? Like the fabric of space-time. It sounds made up, but it's actually real in a way that's kind of mind-blowing. Imagine the universe is like a giant, stretchy rubber sheet. If you put a heavy object on it, it creates a curve. That's what gravity really is. It's not just pulling, it's warping the space around things. It's like the universe is made of invisible elastic, and the more mass you have, the more it stretches. And that's not just theory, it's what we've measured with light and gravity. So the part that sounds made up, it's not. It's real, and it's one of the coolest things about the universe. It's not just empty space, it's a dynamic, stretchy, gravitational playground. You think space is empty? Let me tell you, it's not just dark out there. It's full of stuff you can't even see. Imagine if the universe was like a sponge. Spongy, full of tiny holes, but you can't feel them unless you really look. You can't see it, but space is buzzing with energy, light, and matter that's way too small for your eyes to catch. Here's a find worth sharing: the Apple AirPods, 2nd generation. Point your camera at the QR code or use the description link. Subscribe for more where that came from. So next time you look up, remember, space isn't empty. It's full of secrets just waiting to be discovered. You know that space is just a vacuum thing. Well, that's not exactly true either. Space isn't just empty, it's full of stuff, just not stuff we can see with our eyes. There's actually a lot going on out there, like magnetic fields, solar winds, and even dark matter. It's not just nothing, it's a whole universe of invisible action. It's like the universe has its own invisible orchestra, and space is just the stage where all that music happens. So next time you look up, remember, space isn't just empty. It's a dynamic, full of action place that's way more interesting than you thought. Did you know your phone uses space to calculate your location? It's not the stars, it's satellites buzzing around Earth, but the idea of space is still there, just hidden in the tech you use every day. Your GPS app is like a cosmic map in your pocket, but it's built on invisible networks, not space, but a clever trick that makes you feel connected to the universe. Even your favorite video game has a hidden space. It's not the stars, but the code that makes the universe feel real, even if it's just pixels and physics. When you watch a movie about space, it's not the stars you're seeing, it's a story, a dream, a way to imagine the cosmos. But still, it's not real. So the next time you feel the pull of the stars, remember it's not space that's real, but the way we make it feel alive in our everyday lives. Imagine you're walking through a park and you notice a tree that's clearly not there. You look around, but there's nothing. It's like your brain is tricking you into seeing something that doesn't exist. You try to touch it, but your hand goes through like it's made of smoke. You start to wonder, what if everything we think is real is just a trick of the mind? This isn't just a weird dream. It's exactly what happens in the real world every second. We're all just walking around with our eyes open, but what we see isn't always what's there. It's like the universe is playing a game of hide and seek, and we're always just one step behind. But that's okay, because sometimes the real fun is in the mystery. And that's why space isn't real. It's just a story we're all riding together, with a few plot twists we haven't even seen yet. Did you know that the universe is actually just one massive, cosmic game of hot potato? Every particle, every photon is passing it along, and no one's really holding on to it. It's like the universe is playing its own version of Don't Touch the Magic Bean. But the bean's been passed around so many times, we've forgotten where it started. So when you look up at the stars, you're not seeing a real place. You're seeing a cosmic game of telephone, where the message gets distorted with every step. And if you think that's wild, wait until you hear about how the universe might be playing a game of Don't Look Back. But that's a story for another time. Imagine if the universe decided to play a cruel joke on us. Imagine if the rules of physics suddenly flipped like a light switch, and everything we thought we knew just stopped working. Space isn't real, but what if it became real in a way we couldn't control? What if it started to behave like a living thing, with its own will and desires? It's like if you asked a cat to be your friend, and then it decided to take over the house. Space might not be real, but it could still be annoying. So what happens when space starts to rebel? When the thing we thought was just empty void decides it wants to be more than just nothing. Maybe it's not about space being real. Maybe it's about us being real. Maybe we're the ones who have made space into something it wasn't meant to be. You think space is the ultimate vacation spot? Well, let me tell you, it's not exactly a 5-star resort. It's more like a cosmic free clinic. No gravity, no Wi-Fi, and no way to order a pizza. It's like the universe has a strict no-frills policy. You don't get refunds either. And let's not forget the radiation. It's like being in a microwave that's set to high, but the food is just your skin. The stars, they're not even stars. They're just really, really far away. And they're not even that bright, they're just big. So yeah, space is a whole lot of nothing. But it's also the most interesting nothing you'll ever encounter. So how did we even start to think space isn't real? It began with people looking up at the stars and wondering, is that really out there, or is it just in our heads? Then came the ancient Greeks who asked, what if the stars are just lights on a dome above us? It was a way to explain the night sky without leaving Earth. Then came the telescope. Suddenly, people could see planets, moons, and even galaxies. The universe wasn't just a dome, it was vast and it was changing. But even with all that, we still had to ask, is space a real place or just a way we're used to thinking about it? The answer, it turns out, is both, and that's what makes it so fascinating. What if the universe wasn't just empty space, but actually something else entirely? Like, maybe it's a giant cosmic canvas and we're just the tiny brushstrokes on it. Imagine the universe as a big, empty room, but instead of walls, there's just nothing. And instead of being empty, it's actually full of hidden structure you can't see. Maybe space isn't just empty, it's like a hidden layer of reality, full of invisible rules and connections that we can't perceive, but that still shape everything. It's like the universe is a big, invisible game board, and we're just playing by the rules we can't even see. Space isn't real, but the game is. So maybe the real question isn't, is space real? But what's the game we're playing and who wrote the rules? What if we didn't just explore space, but used it like a playground? Imagine bending the rules of physics to our will, turning the cosmos into a giant, never-ending game. We could warp time, teleport across galaxies, or even create new universes in our backyard. It's like if your favorite game had a cheat code that rewrote reality itself. This isn't about destruction, it's about curiosity. What if we use space not to conquer, but to create something entirely new? The real question isn't whether we can abuse space, but whether we're ready to accept the consequences of playing with something so big. Imagine if the whole universe was just a giant bubble, and we're all just floating inside it. It's like being in a balloon that's way bigger than your whole town. But wait, the bubble isn't actually there. It's just the space we're in. So space isn't real, it's just the emptiness around us, like the air you breathe. So when we say space isn't real, we're not saying it doesn't exist, we're saying it's not made of stuff. It's just the emptiness that lets us float around. Like a sheet of paper, it's not solid, but it's there. Space is like that, but way bigger, just not made of anything you can touch. So when you look up at the stars, you're not seeing real things, you're seeing the emptiness that makes it all possible. Space is like the air we breathe. It's real in a way that feels invisible. Even now, scientists are still arguing over what space is. Some say it's just a vacuum, others say it's filled with energy and stuff we can't even see. It's like trying to describe the color of a rainbow to someone who's never seen one. Everyone has a different shade of the same mystery. You can't really test space like you test gravity or light. It's too vast, too strange, and sometimes it doesn't play by the rules. So even though we've been studying, comment this emoji if you made it to the end.